Hey, party people, and welcome to this episode of But Are You Weird? A podcast dedicated to spending time talking with some creative, captivating, and downright cool people, diving into their world and ultimately asking, but are you weird? I'm Amanda, your host and resident weirdo, and I'm so happy you're here with us. And our guest on this episode is Maggie. Yay, Maggie! I was thinking about if I was going to say Magadocious. I have no idea where that nickname came from, why I call you Magadocious, but I call you Magadocious.
I love it.
Any odd chance anyone else calls you Magadocious?
It's funny. I don't think Magadocious has come up, but my name kind of lends itself to a lot of crazy nicknames. So I usually just run with it. I love it.
All right. I want to hear these nicknames. What do other people call you?
One of the other go-tos is like Magzilla.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, which then has sometimes gotten shortened to like Zill, which just is silly, but I love it. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I just feel like my friends call me funny things. Somebody calls me Tabitha. It has nothing to do with Maggie, but you know, it's a name. It worked.
I had a level 2 OT student whose name was Tabitha, and I like her real name is Tabitha, and I used to call her Tabernacle.
My name is actually Maggie. It's not Margaret, but I do have friends that call me Margaret or Marge just as a joke. But my name's just Maggie.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that. I didn't even think to ask you that.
Yeah.
You're a straight up Maggie.
I am. I love it.
Wow. Oh my God, Margaret.
Sometimes Marge just like gives me a good giggle too.
Your friends sound like they're pretty cool.
Oh, they're a raucous bunch. I love them.
I'm going to go out on a limb and sort of guess your friends are probably lifers. Is that true to say?
You are 100% accurate. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You strike me as someone like when they become your friend, like they are in it.
Oh yeah. They're stuck with me.
Yeah. In all the best ways.
Yes.
All right. So Magadocious, Magzilla, Zill, Tabitha, Marge, Margaret. Can you introduce yourself to our listeners? And you can share whatever you would like to share.
Yes. I am Maggie. I am a sister, a friend, a daughter. I really love my people. I feel like that is like who I am. I love to be curious. I love to like try new things. And I love what I do for my career. I am a professor and I am a physical therapist. And I like to travel and I like to be around people and try new things. And I feel like that kind of sums it up.
I love how you identified yourself as a sister sort of first, because I in the time that I've known you, I feel like I've gotten to, I don't know, connect with your family, but not like directly. You're very family oriented. Like you love your family.
I do. I'm pretty lucky. I feel pretty lucky with my family. They're pretty great.
And I don't know if you said it, but you're an auntie?
I am. That is a new one. I have to add that to when I think of who I am. I have a cute little niece. Her name is Jackie, and she's the best already.
I love when you share pictures and videos. It's so wild how quickly kids really do grow up.
It's crazy.
You mentioned your profession. And so myself as an OT, I know OTs can practice in a lot of different settings. So as a PT, like what do you like to do as a PT? What's like your home base for PT work?
Yeah. So I did residency training in neurologic physical therapy. I am fascinated by the brain and always have been, the brain and spinal cord and the nervous system in general. So I treat patients with neurologic conditions. I do per diem work at an inpatient rehab center. So I see people kind of right after they've had usually a pretty significant life change. And as an educator at heart, I think one of the things I love about the patient population with neurologic conditions is you really get a chance to just help them figure out what's going on and understand what's going on. A lot of times when someone's had a stroke or a spinal cord injury or they're diagnosed with something like MS or Parkinson's, I think doctors are doing a much better job of trying to educate patients, but the reality is we only all have so much time with them. And I feel really lucky as a physical therapist to be able to get to spend enough time with patients to help them kind of process and understand and ask questions. And one of the things I love about Neuro PT is the education aspect of what we get to do for our patients.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to, well, any condition, injury that someone may have is definitely like disruptive to their mental health. And I feel like with neuro especially, and so like getting the chance to connect with people and to say like, here's sort of where we are and here's where we can go and here's more information about this condition and please use me as a resource.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I get to teach. My full-time job right now is teaching. That's how you and I know each other. And I get to teach neurologic classes and I get to nerd out about motor control and motor learning and the brain. And I love it.
Did you know well, two things. Did you know you wanted to be a PT when you were little? And did you know you wanted to teach?
So that is a good question. I was an athlete growing up. I played soccer mostly. That was like, to be honest, if you asked me who I was when I was 16 years old, I would tell you I was a soccer player. And I ended up, like most PTs, I got hurt and ended up as a patient in PT, and it was in high school. And so it was at a time where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I always knew I was never going to be able to sit still at a job. So I was like, I think PT might be for me. And I was lucky enough that I got to do some shadowing in different areas. So I actually got to learn a little bit about neuro PT outside of my own experience at that time. So I would say I kind of always, I wouldn't say always, but I knew for a long time that I wanted to go into physical therapy. And then when I went to college, I was getting all these new experiences and learning about a lot of things. And that's really when I started to question, maybe I want to go down the route of education. I actually took a year off from college and I did an AmeriCorps program, which I loved. And I was working in inner city schools in an educational kind of support role for some students. And I don't know, Amanda, I don't know if you know this. I think you know some of this, but I actually, while I was away from school, I had a stroke and I was not able to complete my educational kind of program. And I took the year off really trying to figure out, do I want to come back to PT school or do I want to kind of take a different path towards education? And then I ended up in rehab and doing PT. And I was like, if this isn't a sign, I don't know what else could be. So
wow.
I came back to PT school, a very different person than when I left, which I felt, at the time I was like confused and there was a lot going on. I was, rehabbing physically, trying to figure a lot of things out. And I was lucky enough, I actually applied for a GA position to work kind of as an assistant to some of the professors. And I think that's when I started to realize, I took this time away because I wanted to learn more about being an educator. I felt like I didn't really do that during my time away, but now I'm realizing like maybe I can combine my love for PT and my love for education. And so throughout PT school, I would say I always kind of knew at some point I wanted to move into education within the field of physical therapy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm almost getting the image of, and if you could see my hands, like two hands coming together, like how nicely the idea of like, PT and then this AmeriCorps time with the educational role, like actually blended really nicely. But there was that stroke hiccup in there.
Yes.
I feel like, and like evidence would say that you were probably really young to have a stroke.
I was very young to have a stroke and it was kind of out of nowhere. I did not know. Turns out I have a blood disorder. And that is what contributed to it or why I had it. But we didn't know that I had that leading up to it. So it's not like I was on any treatment or anything to prevent it. So when I went to the hospital, they did the MRI. There was very clearly a stroke there. And then it took them about a week to finally figure out like, why is this mostly healthy 21-year-old having a stroke? So yeah, that was, there were some experiences during that time that I would say there are some memories that are kind of etched into my brain, probably forever. And I like to think that in some scenarios, it makes me a better physical therapist and a better neuro PT. I don't always tell that like most of my patients, I would say, don't know that I've had a stroke, but I've had the opportunity to have some really cool connections with people that I think needed to hear from someone who had made it to the other side of it. So I've had the chance to share with just a handful of patients when I thought it was appropriate. And I do think it helps me understand a little bit more and be a little more patient with our patients when they're going through certain parts of the rehab process.
I feel like before I was an OT, like hearing that somebody had a stroke was like, oh no, the absolute end of the world, the worst thing, just because I was so uneducated and really didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, strokes can be definitely debilitating and have a significant impact on how we do the things that we do. And at the same time, it's not a death sentence.
Right.
And so I think about, patients that you would work with and having your lived experience, their understanding of what a stroke is whatever life experience they've been connected with.
Mm-hmm.
But for you to come in and to educate and to say like, yes, right now, very challenging, right? And there's so much that can happen, so much potential by doing your PT, your OT, your speech, whatever you need to do. Yeah. And so to give them that hope, but that not like false hope, that not like really sunny, all the time hope, but that reality of, okay, let me actually tell you what this is like.
Right. And I think that's where I love the way that you said that, like not the really sunny parts all the time, because I think that's one of the reasons why I actually don't tell a lot of clients, because I know I look externally like I haven't had a stroke. And I don't want them to think that I'm just telling them, hey, it's all going to be okay. Because the reality of recovering from a stroke is like, you are going to deal with this for the rest of your life. And even if you get to the point where physically, externally, no one's going to be able to notice it right away, there's a lot of things you're going to have to deal with still. And so I think I love that you just worded it as that, as like, I can tell someone like, hey, you can get better from this in a way that's not just kind of devaluing or invalidating like what they're going through at the time.
Yeah, to actually have the lived experience and the ability to really take the perspective of the individual you're working with.
Yeah.
You're a good PT and human. So I feel like we just have to put it out there. Historically, from what I've learned, the things I've been exposed to, usually there's some weirdness between PTs and OTs. Have you heard that too, this rumor about PTs and OTs?
I've heard the rumor.
I'm not trying to start stuff here. I just want to put it out there.
I can say I've heard the rumor. I can say the institution I teach at, we have PT and OT programs, and I can say that I have not seen boxing gloves between any in our hallway.
I was going to say, actually, Melamed's desk
yes.
has those little teeny tiny boxing gloves.
All right, maybe I need to open my eyes a little more. Maybe there are. I think there's always, I would say so I started my career in inpatient rehab, and it was like spinal cord injury unit and brain injury unit. And it was like a really intense setting. And I feel like the moments where the weirdness between PT and OT like set themselves apart, it was like there's an overlap in what we do, which is natural. But I think sometimes people felt really strongly about, I'm good at doing this and I want to do this. And it's like, there's some blurred lines between our scopes of practice. And so I think that's where some of the weirdness comes from. But I'm a team player. I love to be a part of a big group of people that are trying to reach a common goal. So in my mind, I'm kind of like, hey, let's all work together to help this person. And I guess from a practice standpoint and like a professional standpoint, healthcare's tough and reimbursement's tough. So at some point people are kind of like, but I need to kind of put my stamp on this and put my flag in the ground and claim this for my profession. So it's definitely, I would say that's a good way to say it. There's some weirdness.
I know I always heard about it as a student and then, in some bubbles as a practitioner, but every single PT or PTA that I ever worked with was fantastic. And it was sort of like, almost like, oh, you heard the rumor, we're not supposed to like each other. Like that was this like buzz in the background, but it was actually never that way. So I feel like this PT-OT weirdness is actually like, who made this up and why are we still talking about it? The irony is that I'm the one who decided to bring it up.
It's true. But honestly, you're right. Like I have so many friends that are OTs and I love my OT friends. And I just think that I'm going to like generalize OTs, but they're usually like super creative and super helpful. And as a PT, sometimes I get a little in the weeds and I feel like I'm a scientist. Like I love people and I love feelings and emotions, but I also sometimes love like the data and the nitty gritty. And I feel like my OT friends remind me to like zoom back out sometimes.
Hey, yeah, that's totally it. I'm thinking like peace sign, peace and love right now. That's OT, man. So I guess I should tell you why you were invited on the show, which I'm really excited for. I was thinking about it on my way over to the studio and I'm like, oh my God, what am I even going to tell Maggie? Like, why was she invited? I wanted to have you on the podcast pretty much right away, just because I feel like you've got such great energy. I feel like you engage so authentically and so well with your students. Like even, was it yesterday that one of the students like stopped and showed you her socks?
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. And, you know, I feel like in academia, there's a certain, you know, sort of presentation that we should have, and I'm using air quotes. And it's really nice and refreshing to see someone who's sort of doing things a little bit differently, but not in a bad way. Like I'm excited about the stuff that I teach, and I'm excited about the students that I can connect with. And I love talking to my colleagues. Like, you are just that good energy person. And I'm so, so, so thankful that we work together, that we're on the same floor, that we interact in the hallways. The other reason why, and the timing is fantastic, is you're a weirdo. I guess we're skipping right to the end here. But I say this as I pick up my mittens that I have, that I brought with me. So do you want to tell the listeners, tell them about your mittens? How about that?
Yes, I would love to. I am going to pick mine up because, of course, they're close by.
Oh my gosh, you're holding yours too at the same time. We're connected.
So for those of you listening, these mittens, first of all, they're very warm and very soft. So they're very functional, which as a PT, I feel like I need to tell you that. Yes. Amanda, I'm sure you would have started the other way, but you know, we have to stay true to ourselves.
I like it. We're building the anticipation.
Yes. They have a nice white wrist collar, and then there's a nice hard line, and there's some orange all around the thumb and the fingers, and a nice little eyeball at like your first metacarpal.
Oh my gosh. The web space of your thumb.
Web space. In a more zoomed out terminology, they are silly goose mittens. And when you move your thumb and you make a little quacking motion with your hand, they look like a duck. And they just bring me the most joy. And I have been wearing them every day for the past week, and they're just hilarious. And then I was being a goofball, and I showed up, and I was all excited to show everybody my mittens at work. And then I see you, and in my mind, I must have known you already had them, and you got all excited, and we have the same mittens, and it just made it even better.
We do. My smile is so big right now.
Like they're just so cute.
Okay. Yeah. So I can't remember if I told you the story of how did I tell you the story of how I got my mittens?
Please tell everyone.
Oh gosh. All right. Okay. Long story short, which is actually never short. My friend Sarah with an H sent me a text one night, and she's like, hey, can I stop by your house? I have a gift for you. This was like right before Christmas. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I couldn't come downstairs. Doesn't matter. This is supposed to be long story short. So anyway, she left the gift in my car. And I woke up the next morning and I went to my car and I unwrapped the gift. And I think I like got through a little bit of the brown paper, and I was already screaming in delight because these mittens have been on my Amazon wish list for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And it was something I never told anyone else about. But it was like, oh my gosh, I have to have them. But like, also, Amanda, you don't need them. You have other mittens. So when my friend Sarah got them for me, I called her right away, and I was like virtually in tears because I was so happy. And I was like, I can't believe you got them. And then she was like, I didn't know if you already had them. And then I started laughing so hard because like, who would already have these?
Did you feel so seen? Were you like, you're right. I felt these.
So incredibly seen. Like the fact that she's like, I'm not sure if you had them, was like, wow, you know me so well that this is exactly what I would want. Yep. And then you, best friend Sarah, gifted them to me.
Amazing.
And so they're my brand, 100%. And so when I saw you being like, when you're like, guess, or what if you said like, want to see my mittens? And in my head, I was like, she's got the duck mittens. She's got them. She must. And then you showed them to me. I like almost lost it because I was like, wow, Maggie is so cool. She has these same fantastic mittens that I think are like the best thing on earth. Oh my God. Like, what are the chances? What are the chances?
I also just love like being in our 30s just wearing like goofy mittens that probably should be like I'm like, this is the dream. Like I want to be around more people that want to wear mittens that look like ducks.
Yes, I do too. And now I get to be around more people.
Yes.
But I remember thinking like, oh my God, it's going to be, not embarrassing, but like almost like I'm going to have to announce when I'm wearing them, because I feel like sometimes I have to announce that I'm weird. Yeah. And it just like gets through it. It's like, like when your armpits are sweating, you're like, I'm just going to call it out so that nobody's like, oh my God, her armpits are sweating. No. I know they're sweating. It's fine. Like, I know I'm weird. We're good. And
you don't have to tell me. I'm already telling you. I get it.
Yeah. And I know that they're weird mittens for most adults to have. And so to see you have them on, it really created this I'm getting really deep here, but a really great sense of community of like, oh my gosh, she gets it.
And don't you love that we work in a space that you're like, I'm just going to walk down the hallway in these mittens and people are going to know that this is just who I am and I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So like getting sort of back to why you were invited, like you are you and you are authentic. And I love it. I love your playfulness. And like you play with my son and my daughter and like, it's almost like they're your child. That's weird. Not like in a creepy way, but like it's weird. And it's so welcome that I have somebody in my life who literally I know through work, but who will show up for me and for my family without like, I'm not paying you money to be kind. Like, that's so nice. So thank you for being you, Magadocious, Margaret, Marge, Tabitha. Sil.
And thank you for saying that. It is so, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say on this podcast. I don't know that I have much to say. And honestly,
you got a lot to say.
I always have a lot to say. Let's be honest. I don't know why I said that. But I was like, what are we going to talk about? And just hearing that from you was super sweet and kind. And thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. There's a lot of other overlaps that we have, which I've been thinking, I don't know, it's really like, why is that so cool to me? And I think it's so cool to me because I don't know if you feel this way, and I guess I'll ask you that at the end, but like for so long, I have felt, no one has ever told me explicitly like, you're wrong, Amanda, but there are things that I'm interested in that I feel like I shouldn't do and things I shouldn't say. And I think it's really cool to connect with people who have similar interests to me and like own it and celebrate it. And so I really admire people who are comfortable being themselves. Do you feel like, I don't know, have you ever felt pressure to be a certain way?
Yeah, I would say that it's been a journey, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like being authentic is like, probably it comes a little more naturally to me. I think it's probably like, I feel like, I'm a PT and we've done team building a million times. And have you ever done the character traits quizzes and things like that?
Like the Myers-Briggs?
That is one, but there's also like the VIA character traits and things.
No, I don't think so.
So basically, long story long, there's a bunch of character traits that psychologists have hypothesize that we all at least have like some level of these traits, but some come more naturally to us and some we have to work a little harder to express those traits. So it's not that you don't have the ability to express them, but it's just like if something requires you to use, let's say wisdom's one of the traits. If that doesn't come naturally to you, it's going to use a lot of energy for you to have to like do a task that requires you to use your wisdom. But if like goofiness and silliness and humor, I think humor is the way they name it. If that's one of your natural traits, if you're in a setting where you're allowed to use your humor, you're going to feel more like yourself. It's going to like take less energy to be in that space. And my top ones like consistently are always like curiosity is one of them. Like love of learning is another one, but authenticity is always like really up there. And I think going through what I went through when I was younger and like having to figure out how to show up in different spaces and decide, like, I have a lot going on in my head about what I'm thinking about my health and my physical, like my balance was really bad after my stroke. So sometimes I would look externally like things were fine, but then I'd be nervous. I'm like, oh, I'm going to like lose my balance and people are going to judge me. They're going to think I'm like drunk right now or something, like I spent a lot of years like in my early 20s kind of like second guessing and worrying about what other people were going to think. And honestly, it was exhausting. So I feel like it's been a journey over the past like years to just realize how nice it feels when I do show up as my most true self. And I think that's probably reinforced it and made it a little easier is the more I act like myself, the better I feel. And so it's kind of selfish, but I'm like, I don't like not being me. It's not fun for me. I don't think it benefits the people around me because I'm not good at it. So at some point I just was like, I'm just going to be myself. It takes less energy. I'm a better person for it. I think the people around me get a better version of me. So here I am.
Yeah, I love that. When you were thinking about your life experiences, that's something that's been pretty consistent with most of the folks that I've talked to on the podcast and even outside of the podcast space of like, sometimes I feel like the kindest, most empathetic, curious people are people that have been through stuff or have been closely connected to someone that's been through stuff. Mm-hmm. And so like you have that life experience and that perspective that sort of shifts things where it's like, actually, what is important in life? What's important is that I show up for the people that are meaningful to me and I show up in an authentic way versus like the effort and the energy to put on the show. It's like, do people love you or do they love the show? It's like, just be you. Way easier to say.
Yeah, it's kind of like even when I was little, like my parents were like, no, you didn't really lie about things like growing up because I was a terrible liar. Like it's just like you gave it away every time. I'm like, yeah, I learned quickly that it was just not going to work for me. And I was like, well, I guess I got to be honest all the time because I can't lie even if I try. So I feel like it's just that, right? You're like, there is a lot going on in this world. It is a heavy space sometimes. And I do not have the energy to show up in ways to like curate who I'm going to be for every single audience. So obviously there's times as a professional, you have to like turn certain things on and lower certain volumes. But I think in general, it just serves the world better to like have people show up and be themselves because I don't know, being curious and loving. I've met so many different people that I like for so many different reasons that I'm like, I want people to be able to show up who they are and be themselves because then we get to know them and we get to learn new things. And that's really fun.
Yeah. I love whenever people share like their passion, whatever their like special interest is. I'm like, yes, tell me all about it. Yes. I want to hear all about that really weird TV show that you're obsessed with or everything about baseball that you possibly know off the top of your head. Or like, nerd out with me about Neuro. That's actually really cool. Yeah. I love when people get excited about stuff. Some other things that I I like a lot of stuff about you, but other things that I was like, oh, this Maggie person's wicked cool. You have a really interesting piece of artwork in your office. I think you probably know immediately which one I'm talking about, but can you tell us what that artwork is and like, why do you have it?
Yes. So at a previous job, I was developing an exercise group for patients with neurologic conditions. My neuro research brain was reading a lot about the benefits of group exercise. And my scholarly agenda surrounds like the impact of group exercise on neuroplasticity. So like, how does our nervous system change differently if we're doing exercise, maybe independently and one-on-one or specifically tailored versus being in a group setting? And does socialization and sensory stimulation and having like some psychological benefits of being around other people, like, does it really make a difference to our neurologic recovery? And that's what like I could nerd out about forever. But because of that, I was working with a bunch of clients doing group exercise. And there was this amazing woman in the group who she is diagnosed with MS and she is an artist and a dancer and she is a creative and she runs a foundation or is on the board. I don't know that I'm going to name her position correctly, so I won't name it specifically, but she's heavily involved and it's art forms, but it's actually, if you look at the way it's written, it's like art for MS, which I think is so cool.
Wow. Clever.
Yeah. And so she had some collaborative ideas and we wanted to do a session with the clients that was not exercise based, but more socialization based. And so we found a picture and everyone got a small piece. So it was like printed out and then everybody only got their square. So there were 16 people at the event and 16 different pieces, and no one really knew what the big picture was going to look like. So everyone painted their portion, and we like had some food and some drink and some conversation. And then at the end, when everyone finished painting their piece, they put together the puzzle. And to see these people, like some people have visual deficits, and so they can only see half their piece, or some people, you know, from a fatigue standpoint, different positions they had to paint in or things like it. Different communication strategies were being used. It was just like an amazing evening. And then to see the picture put together at the end, it was so cool. And it kind of looks like an abstract painting because you can tell there's like, it went together really well, and you can tell what it is. It's this cool VW bus coming down, like probably the Pacific Coast Highway or something like that. But it's just so, I'm looking at it right now. It's so
I was actually
cool.
wondering, I was like, I wonder if she's looking at it while she's telling me about it.
It's just, I wasn't. And then I turned and I'm like, oh, it just brings me, it's put such a huge smile on my face to think about those people and all that they work through on a daily basis. And they came together and they created this beautiful work of art. And when I left that job, they had all signed the back of it, and they really wanted me to take it with me. And I did. And it really just, it's a conversation piece. It's inspiring. It ties into like what I do for my work, and it just makes me really happy. So I'm thrilled to have it.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first things I noticed when I visited your office. I was like, whoa, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And then hearing you talk about it, I was like, I like her. This Maggie girl. She's cool.
There's just so many cool people that put it together. And I think that's like, again, it comes back to community and just like the people.
Yes.
It's so cool. I'm glad you noticed it. I'm glad it drew you in.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It also reminded me, I've done so many activities like that with folks that I worked with prior to when I was an OT, actually. And so I think about being there and witnessing their experience and like the excitement of putting the whole picture together. And yes, the idea of community too, and, you know, drawing whatever parallels we can and philosophical musings from it. And then to walk into your office, I was like, oh my goodness, she's done this. This is so neat. You also have a lot of other fun things in your office. You've got personality in your office, which is really nice.
Thank you. I sometimes get overwhelmed with like too much stuff. My family always laughs like every time I visit. You know, are you at that point where like when you visit like your parents or older like family members, they're like, oh, take this. You know, like I'm at that point right now where like, you know, my parents are like, get this out of my house. It's yours. Take it. Or they're just trying to get rid of things and they're like, you should have it. And honestly, it just stresses me out. I'm like, please do not give me stuff. At the same time, I love just finding little things that make me happy. So I have things around, and I'm looking at my desk right now and I'm like, there's a little troll with orange hair that Melamed gave me, that there's a little positive mushroom. There's like little pieces of projects that students have done that I just think are so cool that they have to just stay in my office and I have to look at them. And
as you say that, I'm immediately thinking like the stuff that you have certainly has value for whatever it is. But it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the relational aspect that's really the attachment of like somebody gave me this, somebody who is meaningful in my life thought of me for this thing. How cool is that? The thing itself, pretty cool. But like the meaning behind it and the relationship connected to it is actually the cool part.
You have nailed it. That is perfect. That is exactly what it is. As I look at this like orange smiley face bouncy ball that someone gave me because they know orange is my favorite color. And I'm like, that's the part. It's the someone gave it to me part that I really connect with.
Yeah. It's almost like I'm going back to the idea of authenticity. Like people are celebrating you. You have all these little things that are validating and affirming that, yep, Maggie's a pretty cool person. People like me. I'm doing the right thing.
I love it. Thanks, Amanda. You're really hyping me up here. I'm like,
that's what this is all about.
It might be called, but are you weird? But it's really just like, let Amanda tell you great things and make you feel good about yourself.
It really is, though. But I mean, if we really think about the premise of the show, it is like, it's people who I think are awesome. Who I'm like, there's got to be a story here. Like, what makes you so awesome? What do you do? And then I don't know if I've ever shared the origin of the actual name. Have I told you why it's called But Are You Weird?
Honestly, I don't think so. I have the stickers in my office, but that's about it.
The promo, the marketing material. So there was she was a student who worked with Melamed, And she, funny enough, was a student of mine as well. And so I would talk to her very often when I was in Melamed's office. And I was like, wow, like she's pretty cool. She's really interesting. She does a lot of stuff. And then finally one day I was like, okay, but like, are you weird? Meaning like you're doing all this great stuff, but like, are you a weirdo? Like, can we really connect with one another? Like, I love that you're able to accomplish X, Y, and Z, but like, you're a little strange underneath. Yeah.
That's what I really need to know.
Those are the people that I connect with. Like, I love people who are achieving and accomplishing, and not that everything's about being productive, but like the passion, the excitement that people have is so neat to me. Yes. But I want to know, like, underneath, are you a real human? Like, are you weird? Do you do strange stuff?
Yeah, those are my people.
Exactly. Though, like, and I will still celebrate people who are passionate about whatever they're doing, but chances are I'm going to really connect with the people who are a little bit weird. And so, Maggie, you're fantastic. You are a silly goose, quite literally. You're a nerd for neuro. You've cultivated really meaningful relationships with the patients that you worked with, and you're developing those with your students too. And so I just have to ask, but are you weird?
I have to think yes. I love to just nerd out and get excited about everything. And I mean, we're definitely all a little weird, let's be honest. But I don't think I'm afraid to show my weird sometimes. So I'm gonna go with yes.
Yeah, being weird is pretty wonderful. What does being weird mean to you?
Honestly, I think authenticity to me, like people who are their most authentic selves, I think it's hard in a world that kind of constantly challenges you to like revert back to the norm. I think being your truest self is like in the best way. I think it's a little bit weird. And I have to give a shout out. It's something like when I knew I was coming on the podcast, I was like, are you weird? And I go to a music festival every summer, and it is one of my absolute best friends in the whole world. I met all of these people at the festival through her. So I have to give Fiona a special shout out because that's who put me in touch with these wonderful humans. But it's a weekend in the middle of the woods in upstate New York, and everybody camps and listens to great music, and people bring like their artistic ventures that they're involved in. And we get to see like cool art and listen to great music and be outside. And I come back from that weekend each year the most refreshed and like feeling the best. And I do think that like for some people, they would look and be like, wow, there's a lot of weird people here. And it's like the absolute best weekend of the year every year. So yeah, I think to me, being weird is a compliment and a goal. I would say I strive to be myself, because I think being weird is just being able to be your most true self. And I think everybody should want to be a little weird.
Yeah, we are reclaiming weird. Like, call me weird. It's actually not offensive. It's quite a compliment. So thank you.
It's like when people call me a nerd, I'm like, that is the best thing you could call me. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. I wonder if we could do a podcast, but are you a nerd?
That'd be great.
I've got a Halloween costume for us. If you're interested.
Sign me up.
We could be nerds.
Yeah.
Not like nerds like with glasses, but like the candy.
The candy. That's what I pictured. As soon as you said it, I was like a bunch, like I pictured like a grape. I was like, oh, but how do we make sure we don't look like a bunch of grapes? Like that was my first question.
Hey, if you're interested in that, I'll make that happen. That's so weird. And it's 100%. So on brand.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Nice. All right, Maggie, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners?
No, I don't know that I have any other things to say. I'm all talked out.
So that's a wrap on this episode of But Are You Weird? Thanks so much to Maggie, Magzilla, Zill, Margaret, Marge, Magadocious, Tabitha, I think I got them all, for letting us get to know you and showing us your weird and wonderful and authentic nerdy self. And thanks to you for tuning in and getting weird with us. As always, I am so glad you're here. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, leave a comment, or share it with your favorite curious mind. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and definitely stay weird.